Hello everybody, my name is the Chef and welcome back to another One Piece Bounty Rush video. In today's video, we're going to be doing another top 5 characters that I want to see come to the game countdown. Not necessarily a countdown, there's no particular order, but these are characters that I do want to see and I do intend to see in the game if the game does happen to survive. Now, they just had a really nice update in the game. They finally answered all our prayers. You know, Onion God Moria has graced us with a friend system. I haven't done too much testing on it yet, but I will be doing it probably the night before I record, or I post this video rather, so today. And maybe I'll do another, a further in-depth review on it in the next video. So with that, let's just get started, shall we? So the first character that I want to see come to the game, and if you're part of the Discord, you already know how much I like this dude. He's got a super thick neck. He's a badass motherfucker. He actually beat the shit out of Smoker and Law pretty much at the same time. He takes no prisoners. He fingered his teammates to death, or his subordinates rather, even though they begged for mercy. Anyways, enough with the praise. The man is Vice Admiral Virgo. Now, I would want him to be a 4-star defender and probably a step-up unit, because I don't think he's hype enough for Bounty Fest. At least, you know, to the masses. To me, I think he's worthy, but you know, whatever. So his skill 1 would be Busoshoku Haki, which is basically when he, you know, armament haki, when he hardens his body. So hardens the body, boosts attack by 30%, and increases damage reduction by 30% for 30 seconds. So pretty nice. I mean, he gets a little bit of damage reduction, a little bit of an attack buff there, and I think it would be pretty good as a, you know, as part of a defender, dealing a little bit of extra damage while having that damage reduction, and not making him to the point where he's too broken. So his skill 2, the Onitake, which is like the demon staff, I guess it translates, something like that. My Japanese is poor. 700 damage, swings the staff around in a circle, I guess similar to Shanks' counter, knocking back enemies, and deals an additional 15% damage to Devil Fruit users. I think giving him an additional 15% to Devil Fruit users is kind of a nice little thing that he could have, especially since he was just beating up on fruit users in the show, and he is not a fruit user himself. So I think that would be kind of nice to have a little additional buff there. You know, give or take, devil fruit users, maybe switch it to Logia, because he was really pounding on Smoker for being such a punk bitch. But you know, life goes on. Sorry, Smoker, but you're destined to take L's for the rest of the series. So as for his traits, when in the captured treasure area, decreased damage received by 30%. Typical defender trait, you can get a total of 60 if you have your Busoshoku Haki activated. And the second part of his first trait is when you KO an enemy, reduce cooldown of skill. Jesus Christ, fucking can't speak. Cooldown of skill 1 by 20%. So that would be a nice little thing once you kill enemies. Second trait, when your strength is more than 50%, 1 HP will be left even if KO'd by an enemy. So, you know, this trait is kind of rare in the game, but I feel like he's a fitting person to have this trait, because he is quite tanky in the show, and he fought pretty much, you know, he wanted all the smoke with everybody. No pun intended with the Smoker stuff, but yeah. So second part, when you're knocked down, reduce the cooldown time of skill 1 by 15%. So giving you a little bit of an extra, you know, skill 1 cooldown there, so you could proc that damage reduction and attack buff more often. And I feel like for his basic attacks and his, you know, he'd be probably using like Shigan, maybe like, you know, a multi-hit attack similar to like Zeph or something in the game. But anyways, with that, let's just move on to the next one. So the next unit I would like to see would be a 3-star attacker, Event Foxy. Maybe like an April Fool's unit or something, if it makes it that far. I kind of like these holiday units that they release. I think an April Fool's unit, Foxy, would be actually kind of fitting, considering how much of a joke he was. Pretty damn sweet devil fruit though. So Skill 1, Nora Nora, or should I say Nora Nora Beam. Mid-range attack that stops enemy in place for 5 seconds. Now I know it actually like slows them down, but I can't see like how they would implement them slowing all their attacks and stuff. So I just figured maybe it just freezes them in place, because basically that's what it looked like in the show. So skill 2, Foxy Boxing, 650 damage, close range punch that knocks back enemies upon hit. I was contemplating making it like a multi-hit attack, because he did like do a whole bunch of punches and stuff, but I kind of wanted it to be like you freeze them with the beam, you hit them with this punch, and when the Nora Nora beam cooldown effect wears off, they fly back. I think that would be kind of a cool little gimmick there. So as for his traits, when you're in your enemy's treasure area, increase attack by 30%. So typical attacker trait there, giving a little bit of extra attack. And when attacking enemy in Nora Nora state, ignore their defense, because they can't really guard themselves. Remember how helpless they all were when they were in that state? Trait 2, when you KO an enemy, gain 10% attack up to 40%, giving him a little bit of extra attack there. So I think this would be a really cool little 3-star attacker. He'd probably be one of the best 3-star attackers in the game if you had him. That being said, nobody would ever use him because he is Foxy, and I might be one of the only Foxy fans out there. With that, let's just move on to the next one. The next unit I'd like to see here would be a 4-star defender, Basil Hawkins, Bounty Fest, because I think he's worthy of one, and he got shafted with his 3-star. This is a really cool character, having the ability to tell the future through tarot cards, and being able to buff your allies and whatnot. I think there's a lot of missed opportunity. They kind of were on the right track, but I think if they make him a 4-star, this would kind of be suitable. So with that, skill 1, the Straw Man. 700 damage. Spawns a Straw Man that follows you around and attacks at a long range with swipe attacks. Disappears after taking 50% HP damage. Kind of playing on the whole... remember when... I don't know if... Spoilers if you're not in Wano, but when Zoro attacks the Straw Man, it starts like killing his allies and stuff, and eventually disappears. I think it would be something similar to that. Not killing your allies necessarily, but maybe just you taking damage. It would disappear over time, but it would stay out until that point. Skill 2, Straw Sword. 500 damage and heals 50% of the damage dealt to self, which is quite strong. Give or take a couple, 10% or so. I think that would be a pretty fitting thing because of his whole, being able to take lives from his his team or whatever. You wouldn't necessarily want to be taking your teammates' HP. That would kind of be fucked up. But let's just move on to the traits here. So he would have some special character traits, being a Bounty Fest and being such a unique character that he is. So upon spawning, randomly selects a tarot card, giving you a 30% stat buff to a random stat. So, that being defense, attack, or speed. I think they should have implemented it like that rather than the way that they did. The way that it did isn't bad, but you can never really get it with your allies there. Next one, starts match with 30% boost to all stats. Every time an ally is KO'd, lose 10% stat and resets upon being KO'd. So you would actually start with a nice strong buff, but every time your allies are KO'd, you lose a little bit of that free buff. I think that would be kind of a cool little unique feature to add to this character, just to go with the theme of stealing his allies' lives and whatnot. Third character trait, when the Straw Man state is activated, changes normal attacks to a mid-range needle attack. So you just kind of have like a little area effect needle attack. I think it'd be pretty solid. It would hit like mid-range. So as for his traits, trait 1, when your HP is 70%, reduce damage received by 50%. Typical defender, like super tank defender trait there. And when you're in your treasure area with your allies, increase total HP by 10% per ally in the treasure with you. That kind of a new feature as well they could add to this game, giving him a little bit of extra HP when you're nearby allies. And when they die, your HP goes down, similar to his actual Devil Fruit. Boost treasure gauge refill speed by 20%, because that's a pretty slept on defender trait that you don't see really that often. And when you KO an enemy, boost defense by 20%, giving him a little bit of defense. But yeah, I think this would be a really solid unit, really fun to use, and I think it would be, people would have some sort of incentive to summon on him because of his, powerful skills there. With that, let's just move on to the next. The next character I want to see is a 4-star runner, Bounty Fest Gold Lion Shiki. If they can give Bullet, a character, they can give Shiki a character. I mean, Shiki actually played he's actually mentioned in the story, in the actual story. So I feel like they should add this guy at some point. Anyways, he, I think he was a former Rocks pirate, one of the most well-renowned pirates in the world. Actually, he fought against Sengoku and Garp at one point. He was captured, brought down to impel down. He cut off his own legs to escape. He has the ability of the Fuafua no Mi, which is kind of like, Fuafua is like fluffy or like light, airy stuff. So I think his is kind of like a Fujitora-esque Devil Fruit. But anyways, let's just get right into his abilities here. So skill 1, Senjin Dani. I think that's how you pronounce it. 100 damage, multi-hit long-range attack, slash attack rather. So if you've seen it in the movie, he actually shoots a bunch of blades similar to like the CP9 characters when they're throwing their kicks and shooting blades, something like that. So it hits 6 times, do a pretty good amount of damage, and it's a long-range attack. Skill 2, Fuafua Flight. So 700 damage, move towards enemies at a long range and puts them in Fuafua state after you hit them. So as you know, or if you don't know rather, Shiki's Devil Fruit is when you touch something, he can make it kind of float. Even that includes water, so you can actually drown you in like a bubble of water, just like in the air. So it would be similar to Crocodile, like you dash towards them, you do some damage, but you would put them in a Fuafua state, and they just kind of be isolated in a bubble or something for 5 seconds. So his character traits: when attacking an enemy, 5% chance to put them in Fuafua state, and when attacking an enemy in Fuafua state, ignore defense. So you can actually get some real nice kills, pretty easy kills like that. Him being a runner, he wouldn't be doing the most damage, but it would actually do pretty good damage if you're ignoring defense. So traits: when your strength is more than 70%, boost capture speed by 50%. Really nice capture speed traits. I feel like, I don't know, it's hit or miss with runners. Some of my favorite runners don't have this trait, which is kind of upsetting, but whatever. Second one, when an enemy's treasure area increased damage dealt by 30%. So he gets a little bit of an attacker trait there too. So trait 2, when putting enemy in Fuafua state, cool down skill 2 by 20%. So you're getting a little bit of a skill 2 cooldown, so you can actually abuse that move flying all over the place, because you know how Shiki gets down. He's the gold lion, man. Second part, when using skill 2, boost attack by 20% for 30 seconds. So giving him a little bit more of an attacker. So he's similar to like a Kizaru and a Crocodile mixed. If they had like a really ugly love child, that's what Shiki would be. But anyways, let's move on to the next unit. So last but not least, we're going to be covering the 4-star EX Kozuki Oden, because this guy is just a total beast. I don't want to get too spoilery with this, so I won't go too far into detail about what he did in the show or the manga. So anyways, I'm going to try to be as cautious as possible, let's just say. This dude is basically the Gaston of the One Piece world, just a total Chad. So his skill 1, Oden ni Toryu, Togen Totsuka. 800 damage, leaps towards opponent, cutting them with both swords, ignores target's defense. So kind of like Wano Zoro's Onigiri, but a lot further and a lot more powerful, I'd say. Skill 2, I was born to boil. If you know about Oden and you know how he gets down, that's all I'm going to have to say about that. Oden is a Japanese delicacy where they basically, boil particular things, or they kind of simmer them in this like flavorful stock, and it's kind of like a hot pot. It's eaten a lot in cold places. It's very delicious. But anyways, area of effect, boost allies attack and defense and heals by 20% for 15 seconds. I think it would be really nice to have an EX with a nice little support buff like that. And yeah, it'd be really pretty fitting for his character, knowing how much he loves people. So, character trait. When ally is KO'd, increase attack by 20% up to 100%. Last until you are KO'd. I think, again, just, based off of his personality, not going to get into details, but I think this is a suitable trait here. And when performing a perfect dodge, gain 20% speed boost. So rather than having like some busted ass shit like Rayleigh where you just fucking teleport to the enemy, I think giving him a little speed boost would be quite nice, seeing as he's just a rampaging demon man. Trait 1, when your strength is more than 70%, decrease damage by 50%. Because, Oden is just a total thick boy, I think he needs a little bit of a damage reduction. That would be kind of nice on him. When in your enemy's treasure area, cooldown skill 1 by 10% every 3 seconds. So you get that skill 1 cooldown every 3 seconds. It's kind of like a nice little effect there. I don't think that's been done in the game. I think it would be a nice little trait to have on a guy like this who just loves to fight. When HP is more than 80%, resist stagger effect. Very nice trait to have on attackers. Trait 2, when you are KO'd, cooldown team boost by 25%. I think that would be a really sweet thing to add to the game. I don't think it's like crazy busted, but it is quite busted. And when you KO an enemy, recover HP by 15%, giving him a little bit more heals. But yeah, that's going to conclude this list. So if you guys liked what you see on this list, if you have any comments, things you would change, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. I love talking, love discussing these things, love talking about it, and I will be doing more of these in the future. Maybe some more holiday themed stuff coming up in Christmas. So yeah, if you guys like the video, please like the video, hit that subscribe button for more One Piece Bounty Rush content. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.